So creme brulee, gingerbread, chocolate milk, oat peach cobbler, banana bread, framboise, cinnamon, and pumpkin pie. You might thinking that I'm talking about beer, desserts, right? But actually, I'm talking about beer. And tonight we're gonna pair beer and desserts. Good evening, everybody. I'm your host, Gil Mello, for tonight. Not Gil Mello for tonight, but your host for tonight. And this is Craft Beer Nation Friday Night Hangout, beers and dessert. So how is everybody going after this scrambling beginning here? How are you guys all doing?
Doing good.
Good here.
Well, you know, some nights you're Gilles.
Yeah, I'm Gilles.
Is that when you're feeling fancy?
Well, no, most people can pronounce my name. It's such 3 letters, so simple, but that's fine. Gil is good with me, yeah. So tonight we have Alan Huerta, Linda Dean, Lola Laracy, and Rick Potts join us. So are you all excited? I mean, there's dessert involved, so I'm very excited for tonight. Even if everything else goes wrong, nothing can go wrong with my sweet tooth right here.
Except for when it's gone. That's the only
It's always a problem.
which
I
I'm
plan to be
looking at.
passing out at that time.
So I don't have actual dessert, and I'm a little upset by that because I saw dessert beers, so I was thinking what beers would be good for dessert, not beers and dessert. So next time,
I think that's what we cover. We will try to talk about pairing beer and desserts, and I think that's what we plan: dessert beers and beers that I pair with my desserts. I think all valid, all good, yeah. And it's crazy. I just list a few names that I look at that I remember having drunk, but there's so many beer with dessert names that not necessarily taste like dessert, but yeah. Go ahead, Alan.
Let's say I see some on your shelf that like, I mean, they're not necessarily dessert beers, but I would love to drink those with any kind of sweet.
Yes. Oh yeah, I like my my dessert beers. So I know Lola is like her beer is melting, and she wants to drink her ice cream before her beer melt.
Well, it's actually the ice cream that's melting. And the funny thing is, I didn't realize we were doing dessert pairings, but since I had the Not Your Father's root beer, I was like, I've got to try it with ice cream, right?
Good.
I have to make a root beer. I have to. So first of all, this is excellent. I started drinking it because we were waiting and I needed something. So excellent, tastes just like root beer, which, you know, when you're talking about beer, having it taste not like beer but something else is usually a bad thing. But in this case, it's freaking awesome. I love it. I could drink this all day long. And it's only like 5.9% ABV, so I might be okay if I drink it all day long.
See, I thought you had an ice cream made with beer. That's what I thought you had.
No. I have the ice cream right here. I even have a Dave & Buster's glass because I'm feeling carnivalist like that today. So we're going to pour it in here, and hopefully it won't explode. You know, sometimes when you pour root beer in ice cream, it just kind of bubbles up.
That is a delicious combo. The beer by itself is fantastic, but you blend that with vanilla bean ice cream, and I'd almost be willing to go as far as life-changing.
I'm not even sure that's really I mean, yes, it is a beer, but like when I tasted it, I was like, no way.
It certainly looks like a float. It acts like a float.
I know. If it walks like a float, talks like a float.
Has anyone had they make 3 versions of it. Has anyone had the others by chance?
This is all they had at mine.
I've only had one.
Well, they make like a 10.5 or a 10.9 that's in bombers and draft, and then they make a 19 or 19.5 that's brewery only. And I've heard people that have had all 3 at the brewery that it's like the 19.5% one tastes the same as that one. Like it's like the booze is so hidden.
Believe that.
Yeah, there's no way a 20% beer is the booze is hidden. But like that though, I mean, you would not know if you didn't know that was beer and that it had alcohol in it.
I would have no idea. I'd be like, this is some good root beer.
Yeah.
I've given that one to non-beer drinkers, and they're like, I want another one. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. They did a win with that.
Yeah.
And we're going to pretend it's independently owned.
Yeah. Anthony Fugit, who I was
Don't ask
discussing that with
questions.
on Facebook. I got a lot of stuff going on my table. I feel like that's so dessert. I feel like I need to up my dessert beer game. So
Pairing beers and dessert or food in general is not as easy as people think because there's such a. I mean, you talk about food, the first thing people think is wine, right? But when it comes to craft beer, the spectrum of beer is so wide. There's so much out there, and you can do so much with it. There are a lot of complex flavors, a lot of different styles that there's no limit. I think beers are better pairing for desserts than wine, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's even funny with like sure there's guidelines based on styles, but it's a lot harder to how do you put it, like because there's so much variation between beers within the style. It's hard to say a specific style
Right.
will work because this brewery's beer will be different from this brewery's beer.
Right. Yeah. Or even when you talk about a sour beer, if it's citric acid or if it's Brettanomyces, right? They're funky or they're citric taste. There's so much there to offer. And pairing, I think there's two ways you can approach, either complementing or contrasting, right? There's the two ways you pair food, looking for a complementary beer to that food or trying to create a contrast. So. I think there's also the very individual taste. Some people, it's hard to just say, "Oh, this goes with this." Yeah, I guess there are some guidelines, but
Yeah.
there's also, if I like it, screw the rest, right?
Experience is the best guideline.
Yeah.
So how's your float, Lola?
I muted myself because I was gulping it, and I was like, and I was like, I know they can hear that.
I was hoping to hear that from the end of the glass.
And I was all like, I was in my cup. I was like, is it good? I highly recommend it.
The ice cream makes it better, doesn't it?
Yes, and it's all floaty and fizzly and just, and creamy. Ah, I just want to go lay by a pool.
That's something to have in 115-degree weather right there.
Yeah, no
Got that
kidding.
right.
What's the alcohol content in that root beer again?
5.9%.
Okay. Yeah,
It's legal in Tennessee, so.
so
It's
that's
not
how
gonna
it
be in
works.
trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of playing off of Lola's, like how the vanilla ice cream thing. Recently I made brownies, and one thing I did do, they were like really rich brownies, with like 4 different kinds of chocolate and like those Hershey Kisses on tops and like white chocolate chips and stuff like that. So ice cream naturally went on top of there. But what I decided to do is take one of my home brews that I brewed. Actually, the second beer I have for tonight, which isn't what I'm drinking right now, but is just Guinness Extra Stout, which actually went into the brownie mix as well. So
That's cool.
that's
Good
coming into play.
choice.
But the homebrew I made was for an extra stout, and I put coffee in there. It was Kona coffee with like hazelnut, so that was awesome. And I put a little coconut in there, and the coconut didn't come through a lot, but I guess I was trying to extract it the wrong way to add to my beer. But just obviously I don't have it here in front of me now, but drinking the beer, like the like the nightness, like the sweet caramelly type flavors, and just a dark roast really went well with the vanilla, like cutting through the vanilla ice cream, and like the brownie was so rich, but it just kind of took it down a notch. And with the stout, it took it down a lot. It was really nice just putting those together.
Oh God,
Did you-
that sounds good.
Yeah. Did you roast the coconut at all?
Yeah, when I actually that's what I did. I just put it like on a baking sheet, and had to like keep turning it like I put it on for like 5 minutes at a time, but toasted it, turned it, toasted it, turned it, toasted it, turned it. And then the way I did it, which is maybe the way I should not have, is I put it into like this bowl of vodka, because I figured the vodka would extract the oils out. But after talking to people after I did it, they said I should have just threw it all on top of the beer and let the beer extract the oils out of it, which, I mean, after talking to them, I see that, but beforehand, I was like, oh, no, I don't want all those oils in the beer. I just want the flavor, But, yeah.
Okay, you live, you learn.
That's
Yeah,
true.
it's hard too. I'm always afraid of something,
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of
just throw in the
speaking
fruit.
of rich, I decided to go really rich, and I chose key lime cheesecake for
Yum.
Just
yeah
want
for my
Can you
dessert.
put that in
Forget the
here?
beer. I just want the cheesecake.
Right.
Just pop it right into your thing, Linda. Just half of it. That's all. Just half.
Now in picking the cheesecake, I have to say that I had the beer first, and it was a recommendation by somebody at Market of Choice, which is Duchess.
Ugh.
I'm gonna murder this name, Duchess de Bourgogne.
That's the Bourgogne.
De Bourgogne. Okay, and and I was a little skeptical as a dessert beer, but then I had to pick the right, knowing that it had a fruity, sour type taste, almost winey like. I decided to go for the tart, the tart something to really bring it out. And the key lime cheesecake was a great idea. The only thing that I would get rid of is the graham cracker crust.
Okay. Not
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But actually, creamy, cheesy kind of desserts are actually excellent pairing for tarts, and sour beers. Yeah.
And that's a great beer too for anything. Like I've done that one with soft cheeses before, and just amazing.
It's also
Yeah,
good with just
yeah.
a glass.
That's true.
Fantastic
With
brew.
just a glass, yes, I agree.
Who needs the dessert? I would never think though
I
to
don't
pair a
think I've
sour with a dessert though. That's a really interesting combination too with the key lime and the.
Well, I thought a milder dessert would not stand up to this beer.
Yeah.
A regular, something like ice cream would be kind of, even chocolate wouldn't really stand up to this beer. This beer would kind of walk all over it unless it was a really standout chocolate. But key lime tends to grab your tongue and shake it around. So.
And also,
really cool.
the lime goes against like the natural, like cherry and tartness stuff in the beer too. So.
Yeah, and I like the fruit. The fruit in it actually kind of stands out against the cheesecake, makes the cheesecake actually taste a little fruity, which is nice.
Yeah, because you always try to get the beer on a sweeter end when you try a dessert. But how you get a beer sweeter than a cream cheese or a key lime pie, right? So you have to go for the contrast. Otherwise, you're gonna have like a sugar high and just fell off of your chair, like your leg shaking and stuff like that. Yeah.
So Linda said a word that takes me straight to my beer. She said chocolate, and I should have thought about drinking this last week when we did the Oma Gang, but I have a bottle of Chocolate Indulgence, which is
I love that label.
fantastic. Yeah, it's a cool label, and the label looks like chocolate. It's
I've never had that one before.
so the aroma, like, and you're reading the bottle and you're thinking like, okay, this is gonna be like chocolate syrup, and it's not at all. Like, the aroma is almost like a super dark, rich chocolate, and it doesn't smell sweet. I haven't tasted this batch yet. This is brand new, but from 7, it was only 7%, so it's not super high. And I know, like, when I think about dessert beers, I think like big barrel-aged stouts and coffee beers, like coffee because coffee and espresso. But like I wasn't even thinking about getting something that was a coffee or an espresso. I was thinking about chocolate and like and I'm sure somebody in the room's got the creme brulee. Like, there are so many beers that you just, when you think dessert, you immediately go to sweet, but it doesn't have to be about sweet. And smelling this, it's not sweet. It's very, like, dark chocolate. Like, and I'm picturing like the Hershey's dark chocolate, like when you open that, like just what that aroma is.
So what about?
I wonder. Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm wondering what the hops do with the chocolate, with the dark chocolate.
I don't know the answer to that, but this is freaking delicious. Like, it's a little too carbonated, but like the finish, going back to the dark chocolate, the finish is like almost bitter. So maybe the hops are what plays off the chocolate. The chocolate could be bitter itself, but like it is like almost like a. And it's not a hoppy bitter that I'm tasting. Like, I'm tasting like I just licked a piece of like straight cacao. Like, it's.
Oh, you have to remember that Omegang has a very unique yeast strain too. It's very particular to them, and so it's kind of a chocolate Belgian taking on that. Did you get that yeasty finish on top of the
No,
chocolate?
not at all. And it says on the label that they use pearl hops, and I don't know much about that hop. And I don't know. I mean, I know that they use a lot of unique ingredients, but like, I mean, there's no yeast flavor at all. Like, the flavor is straight dark chocolate. Like, I mean, the name Chocolate Indulgence is perfect, and it does say it's a Belgian style stout. So I have a feeling that the Belgian style is pulling from the yeast that they're using. But I mean, it's just, and I don't want to drink this quick. Like, it's going to get better as it heats up, and it's a bit like this bottle. I only get 10 ounces of it according to the person that paid for it. But the bottle I could spend an hour and a half, 2 hours with, and just sit here and just sip it. And it's, I think that says a lot to like it being like a dessert type beer. Like, you finish dinner and you sit around and you talk and like thinking about smoking a cigar with it, or just sitting around a fire or whatever. And this is the type of beer that you just, one beer and that's all you need to share with friends. And I'm very, very pleased with this
Yeah,
experience.
their beers are very solid. So, Linda, are you having like? I'm too curious as the show goes. How? See, I tend of like key lime pie. That first spoon is amazing. The second is good. It's a little bit like life. When you're hungry and you eat that piece of key lime pie, and it's wonderful, make you happy, and you think key lime pie and happiness goes together. But then you made the mistake of order a second slice because you think,
Yeah.
that's
And
gonna
then
be
it's
the
just
happen.
not as satisfying.
Yeah, it's not, and then you becomes, kind of a sad, and then you keep trying to eat more key lime pie because you relate that to happiness, and then at one point you just realize you hate it because
You're
you got it too
bloated
much.
and you hate
You know,
yourself.
Yeah.
there's really only one way to change that, and that's to have a small amount of different tastes during dessert, which I really love to do.
Like a little cream, a little wheel. Like
Yeah,
a little.
a very small amount, and then if you're still in the mood for dessert, move on to another taste. Don't
Yes.
drink the entire bottle of Duchess de Bourgogne. Move to something else.
If you care about yourself, don't
If
do it.
if I had that kind of self-control, maybe. Right?
So yeah, I was hoping that her beer like kind of refreshes it like all along the way. Like gets that first amazing taste like after every single bite and every single sip, just reminds you
No.
why.
No, after about I'd say about 2 ounces of cheesecake, then the Duchess starts getting a little too acidic on the tongue.
The Duchess turns on you.
Yeah, it turns on me. It turns a
Really
little.
with their head.
It turns a
Off
little.
of their heads.
It turns a little vinegary.
Hmm
Turns
That
tired.
beer is an amazing beer. By the way, it's a really, really good beer. Yeah. Well, I'm a little bit like Ricky. I agree with him that personally, coffee forward beers pair nicely with the desserts that I like, the kind of thing that I like. I like to have that little roast bitter rather than the hoppy bitterness when I'm eating dessert. But one of my drink often for some reason, but milk stouts. I love milk stouts with my desserts, and this one that I have tonight, the Stone milk stout.
Oh, I love
Oh,
that
yeah.
So
one.
good.
Yeah, and that beer is roasted with coffee beans. Although I have a chocolate cake. Let's see, I can carrot.
Oh, it's
I
yellow.
didn't do a nice chocolate topping, but this is what makes that beer wonderful for me. Chocolate chip cookie.
I love
And
it.
so,
Oh.
and I'm gonna get a lot of hate mail on the internet, but this right here.
Oh man.
Oh man, that sounds awesome. Especially with that beer, because that beer is so rich. Oh, it's just
Every-
so dense.
Every Christmas I leave cookies and like usually a porter, sometimes a stout out for Santa. So
Right.
And then Santa gets drunk and falls off his sleigh. We know how this
No,
goes.
he's
No,
happier.
he
You
doesn't.
broke Christmas.
He gets happier and give better gifts to the kids.
Yeah, and he gets
Jollier.
tired of milk. Like, seriously, how many houses are leaving him milk? So he's like, I'm at a real guy's house, yeah.
He's like, I'm way above 21 people. Okay.
I have a feeling that the last name of the Santa Claus is Huerta, but I'm just gonna leave this right there.
Santa Claus Huerta.
His daughter come, look, mommy, Santa Claus loves beer.
And you're in the tree, 6 o'clock in the morning. You're like, Merry Christmas.
I mean, Santa does his business and he leaves for the night, but
He's got places to go, you know?
Mhm.
You only can only stay a minute.
Yes. No, I love this beer. This beer is really nice, and it's the kind of beer that I would, a petit gâteau with lots of chocolate cream would do well, because the coffee would balance nice with that richness, or my carrot cake with chocolate topping, my favorite kind of cake.
How about chocolate?
Excellent.
How about chocolate meringues?
I'm not sure if I ever had a chocolate meringue.
I haven't, no.
Oh, there. It's gorgeous. It's meringue, but it's baked into a crisp little cookie, and it just melts on your tongue.
Awesome.
That's
Like
kind of the
pouring
dessert that
over-
probably goes well with any beer, right?
Probably.
Bud Key Lime. What is it? Bud Lime or whatever?
No. What was it? Margarita beer or something?
I love my Cayman Jack. Okay, that's my guilty pleasure.
Oh.
Honestly, if I have a beer that I don't like, instead of pouring it out, I mix it with a Cayman Jack, and it works every time.
Oh, man.
Tastes good.
I do the same thing, but with Calapooya chili.
Okay, that works. You just put it in your chili.
I mix it with Calapooya chili. If it doesn't work with Calapooya chili, it's sink beer.
Yeah, there's something really wrong with it. That's some voodoo chocolate, whatever that stuff is.
I don't. Oh, and the voodoo. I mean, the voodoo beers. What a great idea, but a little goes a long way.
They're not good at all, and every time they release one, I buy one. Like, I have to try it. Like, they're not good, but dang. Like,
I don't, because I like
what an
my-
experiment. Like, even if they suck, the bottle's cool, and I mean, I've been to the original Voodoo, and it's a neat homage, and everyone hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah,
last-
I was one in Denver. They have a one in Denver. They had that chocolate and salt, caramel salt on top of it. But see, the problem, the problem for me is that pink bottle.
Mm,
It's
Makes me wanna
off-putting.
throw up.
Yeah, it's off-putting for me. But
Really, I thought that artwork was rather nice.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
it's just the pink. It looks like Pepto-Bismol.
yeah, that's what reminds me as well. It's just
Ah.
yeah, it's like the dessert that I have.
Oh,
Oh,
Like this.
What is that?
What is it?
Pepto-Bismol.
It
Yeah,
looks like
Pepto-Bismol.
Pepto-Bismol.
No, this is
Throw
It's
it in the
called-
freezer?
It's called bavorazi or bavohaz.
Oh.
It's basically gelatine mixed with condensed milk, blended, and then you basically make like gelatin, but there's condensed milk, so you get a more full.
Where's that
What's
originate
what's
from?
the pink? What's the pink part of it?
Because it's a strawberry gelatin.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Where's that
Uh,
dessert from?
I think it's I think it's a French dessert. Yeah. I don't know. And I like strawberry. Even my little layered chat. It's
That looks good.
That kind of looks like those little candies. The
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're called.
Parfait. Who doesn't
Parfait.
like some good parfait?
Yeah. This one is not a parfait though. It's like heavy chocolate and some creamy, and then there's strawberries on the bottom that is melting already. It's warm down here. That's good. Does anybody have a second beer?
Not yet.
Yeah.
No.
I'm gonna be moving on to that stout soon, but I haven't opened it yet.
Oh,
Totally.
that Linda that beer is so good.
I had to go totally opposite with the Duchess, and because yes, I have a secret fondness for chocolate like you would not believe, and I can't eat chocolate bars by the dozen. But one of these Boulder Shakes totally makes it completely satisfied. The chocolate craving goes away.
I think that might be their best beer, like their
It is.
best just daily release. Like that
It
is.
is. Yeah, it's thick, it's rich, it tastes milk chocolatey.
Yeah. Awesome.
It's lovely.
consistency, yeah. And you would never
Chocolate.
think it. Like it just sits on the shelf like it's just a normal release
Yeah.
beer, and it's freaking delicious.
I think I had that in Denver with they had a. I'm trying to remember if it was, I think it was a barrel aged version of it that I really like it. I think I gave four caps for that beer on Untap. That's how much I liked it. It was really good. It looks beautiful in the glass too.
It does. It really does.
That does look nice.
Yeah, I've seen the trend. So, I do like some IPAs with dessert too. It's just not as often. The problem with having a hoppy beer is that you really need to get a full flavor dessert, like something with lots of flavor, because to create a nice contrast. Otherwise, IPAs can overwhelm the dessert pretty quick.
Yeah. Good things that work with really sweet things are like high alcohol or high bitterness. So you find that and really cut down on the sweetness.
Yeah.
A really nice dark rich, like a 7-layer super rich chocolate cake. There's a restaurant I'm trying to remember. They serve like a massive log of chocolate cake.
Oh my lord.
I want
Claim jumper. That's what it is. Claim jumper
There's
serves.
one of those here. I want one now.
Go in there and either
Gonna
take
look
an
this up.
IPA or ask them for an IPA, and I'll bet something pretty hefty in the alcohol department would stand up to that cake beautifully, because milk doesn't do it.
Stout does it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Stout would do it. A hefty IPA would probably do it.
Well, like some of those IPAs with some habanero on it, like the Sculpin does. That would be great for a chocolate and spicy kind of a dessert.
Yes.
That probably would be really amazing.
Now
And,
that's an idea. I've never tried that.
yeah, the Sculpin habanero is really good. Trying to remember, I had another one that the name just escaped now. So I think those, there is, and again, it's like we talked about in the beginning, how complex beer are. When people think about beer, a lot of people remember that fizzling, tasteless beer, but I mean, just on this 40 minutes right here, how many flavors we talk about, how many variations, and I think that's a big thing. And IPAs nowadays has so much to offer. You think you had some IPAs, they have other than the hops, you don't get much, but that's not really true. You get like the grapefruit Sculpin as well, another from Ballast Point that is amazing. So.
But I am still waiting for somebody to come out with a truly spectacular cinnamon IPA.
Oh, that would be so good.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, do like a Christmas IPA maybe.
Someone actually asked me to
not
make
really not really
Nutmeg.
peppermint, not really peppermint, but cinnamon itself.
With the spice on it, like
Yeah.
hit your tongue a little bit. Oh,
When Stone releases a peppermint IPA, we get royalties. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. They're watching right now. They're like, "Oh, that's a good idea. Let's do that."
What was that, Alan?
Someone actually asked me the other day at work, like literally maybe 2 weeks ago now, if I could make them like a horchata beer. I think that's how you say it. But it's like a cinnamon, sugar, spicy type character.
The brewery did that.
The brewery did that?
Dude, it is stupid good. Like,
Oh, yeah?
if you had, like, same thing like the Not Your Father's root beer, if you had a cup of horchata and you had the horchata stout next to it, you would think it was it's weird how good it is. And Blue Moon did one that wasn't bad. It was a cinnamon horchata. It was
Yeah, Blue Moon's was respectable. It wasn't fantastic. It was respectable, and it did
If
taste
you-
like horchata on the back.
Yeah, if you like that flavor, get a bottle of the breweries. I mean, it's $10, and it will blow your mind. It is so good. It is the same consistency. It's like almost milky and just unbelievably good. They hit a
find
home
that
run
then.
with that. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good dessert. I mean, are you gonna do one? Are you gonna make it?
Potentially. I mean, he just
Yeah.
talked to me about doing it. I'd never thought of it before that. He just said, well, what he had originally was a guacamole,
Yeah.
and then he was, wanted a beer, and so he started talking to him just generally about stuff, like not specific, and then he started talking about that. I'm like, I mean, that could work. Yeah. But I guess
beer's an excellent ingredient for desserts as well. For cakes and other things.
Just like you put rum, put some beer.
Yeah.
And you can put more of it.
Mhm.
And let me tell you, beer and wedding cake.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
those
would be
two right
good.
there. Find a decent beer to serve at a wedding, and you have the thankfulness of all the craft beer people, because it goes really well with a lovely white wedding cake. Really.
I could see
Yeah.
like a cocoa port or something with that.
I have a feeling that we could mix, like, people in this hangout could mix beer with anything.
Yeah.
And we'll be like, oh my
Chinese
god, it's
food.
fabulous.
What is that? It's a raw fish that just jumped out of the stream? Sure. Give me some beer.
Grapefruit
Get
It'll
scalded
some
work.
so well.
Sapporo with it, get some koi fish and some Sapporo. That'll work.
Mm.
Get me a Ninkasi with that deer.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. You said Sapporo. That's one beer that I just do nothing for me. I just
Nothing.
don't like it at all. Yeah.
It's not my favorite, but when I'm in a Japanese restaurant, like, I have a
Yeah.
choice. I can either do wine or Sapporo.
Sephora is usually on happy hour, and it's normally $3 for like a giant bottle.
That's what I did last Saturday. I was like, oh, it's happy hour, buy one get one free. Okay.
And if I'm gonna do a sake bomber, sake bomb, I might as well just. I mean, Sapporo's like.
I have a sushi bar not far away from here, and they have an excellent selection of craft beer, and
Lucky.
so
Yeah, I
I'm
was gonna
very
say-
grateful. Yeah.
Our sushi place here, Sada's, learned real fast that just serving Sapporo was not going to cut it in Corvallis. So they started adding our local brews, the Oregon Trail, and then they started adding Ninkasi, and people loved that even better. And I usually make a few suggestions for additions when I go in.
Good.
There's a few places around here that they do awesome food, and I think if they just added it doesn't have to be like anything fancy, just like regular craft brands like Sierra Nevada Pale or like Fat Tire or something like that, they would just do so well, and then maybe branch out into some other things, but just not happening.
Yeah, when I go to a lot of breweries, they have food trucks, and it's always savory, right? I wondered, maybe somebody should maybe not a full food truck, or have a food truck that could have some dessert. That would be awesome to have
It's a good
part-time
idea.
brewery. Yeah, maybe just a little, trailer or something small. So much you can do, and then having that dessert, because it's always something savory. And sometimes I had dinner already, and then I had it to a brewery that has no food, and yeah,
See,
that's
I don't understand the breweries that don't even offer crackers.
Yeah.
and,
You want people to
Kills
eat
me
when
because
they're drinking.
I cannot drink and not eat. So if they don't allow me to bring food in, I'm gonna have one, and I'm leaving.
Yeah, I find it. I mean, I have never been to a tap room that doesn't offer food. That doesn't like to bring food in. I mean, they're very good at it. It's very hard. Like many states, like Pennsylvania, your restaurant license is separate from your tap room license, and many times if you have a restaurant license, there's a minimum of food say you have to make. It's not that easy. It's a lot of investment for a brewery that is, on a 15-barrel system.
But what about bars? Bars can serve like
Yeah.
little snacks. I mean,
Yeah, but they they probably have food too. I mean, sandwiches and stuff. It depends, I guess, stage to state.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
yeah, but here most you can have either way. Not every food truck. If you didn't want to come to your brewery on a Wednesday or on a Tuesday, that there's only like half a dozen of people at your tap room, right? So they normally get food trucks on Fridays, Thursdays, maybe Saturdays. Um, it's complicated. There's always a financial part that the small brewers have to watch for.
Very true. And here in Corvallis, we can't have food trucks.
Why not?
No, I mean Beer 30 right across the street from me allows food. Allows you to go buy some Mexican food from Burrito Heaven, which is excellent because Burrito Heaven is wonderful. But food trucks are virtually unknown here. They've been just shoved into the background and licensed away from Corvallis. You're lucky that even the beer trucks can serve at the craft beer festival.
So it's not that you can't have beer trucks, right?
Well, you can. Serving beer on a truck is acceptable. Going around town in a food truck is not acceptable.
Huh.
You cannot do that.
That's weird.
That's strange. Yeah. All right. So back to dessert. Before we wrap this up, let's start. We'll do Alan, and then we move to Linda, Lola, and Rick. What's your favorite dessert? Can you pick a favorite dessert and suggest our viewers a beer they should have of that dessert? Put you on the spot right there, Alan.
Boom, let's do this. So one of my favorite desserts of all time is carrot cake, no lie. And sure, this might sound like I'm reading it exactly out of a book, but they actually do so in the couple books I've read, they suggest do a barley wine or do an IPA with it. I do like and we even one said like a chocolate type stout kind of goes with it. But I had Deschutes Mirror Mirror, the last time I had carrot cake, which was for my birthday. I kind of had a carrot cake for my birthday and opened a Mirror Mirror because that's just an amazing beer. Not even thinking about putting them together, but just as like, I want a barley wine, And I thought just because it's more of an English barley wine than an American barley wine, so it was like had like port-like characters. It was really like just more wine-like than an actual hoppy super like American barley wine type beer. So it was just it made me happy on the inside, and it was my birthday, so it was a win-win.
I'm gonna go super simple. Sara Lee,
Ooh.
frozen, like half frozen chocolate fudge cake, and Ninkasi's Total Domination.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Like that.
Just lay me
Yeah.
down on a recliner now. I just,
It's really filling. It's really filling. It's really satisfying, and the hops and the Total Domination just bring it all together for a perfect ending.
that sounds perfect. Well, one of my favorite dessert beer has always been Southern Tier's creme brulee. Now I'm trying to branch out. I got the root beer here, but I've got a creme brulee in the refrigerator. That's my favorite, and I've been thinking about what would work with it. And the mention of wedding cake made me think a really white, kind of a little creamy, a little moist cake would go perfectly with creme brulee.
So I want that right now, by the way, because creme brulee is not available here, and that sounds fantastic. Like, skip the cake. I just want the bottle of beer. I don't normally eat dessert, and even again, I was thinking all just beer when we were talking about this hangout tonight. But the times that I do get dessert, it's usually because somebody ordered it and it comes to the table. Creme brulee seems to be a popular one, but yeah, Alan just said in the chat, beer is my dessert. I'm going to have to say amen to that because and Cheryl even texted me and she was like, are you drinking your dinner tonight? Because she's not home. And I was like, yeah, because I'm drinking my dessert right now. So I'm having dessert before dinner and I'm drinking my dinner. But, as far as pairing it, just pair it with whatever you think makes sense as long as you're drinking craft beer. And man, it's a fun thing to think about, and now I'm gonna the next time I go out to eat, I'm gonna order dessert and be like, what beer should I pair with this? So thank you for ruining my calorie count for the day.
Let's not think about it. Friday night it doesn't count.
Yeah, Yeah, you're indulging yourself. It's scrumptious dessert with nice scrumptious beer.
Yeah.
Why not?
I want it.
Well, for me, my favorite dessert, by far, it's milk pudding flan, like a milk flan. I love it with that sugar caramelly kind of on top of it. I just love that. And for me, Gnamagang from Amagang, just yeah, that's it will make me a little happy boy. I can sit there and just you know eat half of a flan and sip on a Gnamagang. I like milky kind of desserts, and I like the yeasty taste. I know normally, yeasty beers you wanna probably go more for fruit or maybe some like flaky kind of dessert. But for me, that milk flan uh, with Ginamagang is just awesome, all good. And I think a milk stout goes with any dessert. There's no way to go wrong when you have a milk stout. So I love the
I
um,
agree. I agree with
what
that.
else?
With anything or just by itself, milk stout stands.
Milk stouts and chocolate chip cookie. What better? So any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
Don't let anybody tell you what your dessert beer should be.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean there are parameters in there, but you don't have to put yourself in a category as long as well, and even if you like something crazy, why not? Right?
Yeah.
I think the only time you really have to worry is when you serve into other people's. You have to be mindful of something that's not going to clash and kill everybody palate. But other than that, I agree with Linda. Do what you want. So,
Transparent.
yeah. So next week we are celebrating Stone Brewing. I know Randy is gonna probably smile ear to ear next week.
I'm a big fan too. So
Yeah. So yeah, we will all enjoying all Stone's beer. We can put our hands on it. Um, uh, Join us. Come watch this crazy group of people. Make sure if you have questions, just put it on Twitter or on our event page. We will try to remember and answer on air or later on. Um, Thanks for our few viewers, and follow us on YouTube, iTunes. Uh, you can listen to our show on Stitcher, and also on Google Plus
And
and
maybe even
Facebook.
Periscope. I should have had Periscope.
I didn't
Yeah,
Periscope. I have
no,
headphones on, or I would have Periscope, but the people would be like,
yeah.
"What's happening? What's being said?" Because they couldn't hear
Everybody's
me.
getting crazy. I wonder how long how old that's gonna get. But
It's got about 6 months in it.
yeah, we'll
Then the
see.
new thing will be out.
Yeah.
I think it's a nice tool. I mean, you walk into something interesting. I think right now people are so static; they're just periscoping anything. Oh, look at that! I'm tying my shoe right now. But yeah,
Yeah.
so find us on the internet and join us again next week when we drink beers from the Stone Brewing Company. Have a good night, everybody, and cheers.
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 Cheers.